Tonight on Smash Center, second round fights have been fought across a number of different stages, and we're here with all of the exciting results. The always magnificent master of swords and style, Marth, yes, I said style, have you seen his perfect hair? Got the second round off to a peachy start. Sheik and Captain Falcon got greedy and decided that having just one round to fight like everybody else wasn't good enough for them. And the old school Mario-Sonic mascot rivalry comes closer in their matchup than it ever did in real life, proving that this time it might not be a runaway. So welcome back to our now one-man coverage of the 2012 Super Smash Bros. Championship. My always lovely co-anchor is on vacation this week, so today I'll be covering this myself while he tans on the beach and I sit here in the studio getting paler by the day. Not jealous though. Anyways, the round 2 action was very exciting this past week, so my introductory banter aside, let's just get right to it. So, as per the rules of the second round of fights, the manager of the fighter who lost in the first round had the option to move this week's fight to a stage of their choice. And so the red team manager, Nick, decided to move Peach's fight against blue team member Marth, having lost her first round fight, to a very old favorite, the N64 Super Smash Bros. Version of Hyrule Castle. Unfortunately, even with the advantage of having the option to choose any available stage, Peach was still no match for the consistent grace, strength, and pure power of swordsman Marth, who at the end of this week will go up 2-0 in their matchup. And that's an important number to keep an eye on. Remember, the Super Smash Bros. Championship is a 5-round tournament, so it only takes fighters 3 wins to secure the victory in their matchup. But unlike that first fight, Red Team member Donkey Kong was able to prevent Rob from taking the first 2 wins in their matchup, winning his second round fight on home soil on one of the newer stages, the Subspace Emissary Jungle stage, tying their match at 1 win each after 2 rounds. However, Marth would not be the only one who was able to get to that all-too-important point of needing just 1 more win only 2 rounds into the tournament, with Luigi getting his second win against Wario after their match in Skyworld, and Mr. Game & Watch doing the same, getting incredibly lucky in somehow defeating Pikachu for a second time, going up 2-0 after their match on Melee favorite Hyrule Temple. Now look, nothing against Mr. Game & Watch. I mean, a win is a win, and I'm sure the red team will be very happy with the result, but he certainly benefited from, let's not say camping, but maybe some selective positioning, opting to really only fight in the underground portion of Hyrule Temple, where, despite Pikachu's very impressive efforts to get KOs, he's able to bounce off enough walls to survive a little bit longer than usual. And the red team's, what are we calling it, shenanigans? Ridiculousness? What's the most impartial sounding word that I can use? Continued when Sheik and Captain Falcon took to the always long cruises of the Great Sea. True to form, the process of sailing that beloved ocean took longer than it ever should have, and the full 8 minutes allotted for a fight were actually used up, resulting in the very first tie of the tournament. And as per the rules of the Super Smash Bros. Championship, all matches that end in a tie as a result of having time run out must be refought in their entirety. And so Sheik and Captain Falcon met on that pirate ship for a second time this past Monday. However, that awfully convenient rematch was only possible as a result of some, let's call it strategic, decisions again on the part of the red team. You'll notice that when Captain Falcon was able to tie up that opening fight with just 25 seconds to go, being perfectly aware that he was already at over 100% damage and the victory was still almost definitely Sheik's, rather than actually, you know, fight the last half minute of the match, he sort of just runs the clock. A move that would give him another chance to get lucky in their second pirate ship fight. And after both Game & Watch and Captain Falcon, the consistent classiness of the red team continued into the match between Ganondorf and Jigglypuff, in part because of an incredibly tactful stage selection from the always impressive blue team manager, and also because of the extraordinary power displayed by our favorite Dark Lord of Evil. Ganondorf completely dominated the fight against the Puffball Pokemon, getting 2 KOs in just 90 seconds, all before Jigglypuff could even KO him once. And he would continue to completely control the fight until the last minute of the action when, you guessed it, Jigglypuff opted out of actually fighting and decided to again run from her opponent on the blue team. However, try as she might, she could not outrun him forever, and Ganondorf would do well to eventually finish that fight and take the win. And now, for a break from all the fighting, we go to our Super Smash Bros. 100-meter dash, a running contest in which the red team is favored to do very well this year, and oh wait, that's not a thing! Now hold on for a second there, are you saying this competition is supposed to be about fighting? You know what? Non-specific background character who looks an awful lot like me but totally isn't actually me? I just might be. What? I know. Moving on. Blue team member Toon Link completely destroyed Charizard in their round 2 fight, probably because Toon Link is awesome. Zelda got incredibly lucky in winning her fight for the red team against Snake after their match on Big Blue. Ike somehow managed to barely defeat the almost always successful Bowser. Totally awesome blue team member Ness decided to feel bad for the red team and basically gave Lucas the win in their fight. And here's something I never thought I'd say, but I'm very happy to report because let's face it, he deserves it. Sonic completely outplayed Mario to take another well-deserved win home for the blue team. Now some of you viewers may be thinking that just because my co-anchor isn't here today, I'm being less impartial than usual because I'm stuck in the studio while he's off on some super awesome weekend of beaches and sunshine and ice-cold glasses of Falcon Punch, the official drink of the 2012 Super Smash Bros. Championship. Falcon Punch! A refreshing drink after a long day of running from your opponent. And you know, you might actually be on to something, because our producer Chris is behind the camera right now, flashing the official SSBC "you aren't being impartial enough" sign, and that typically isn't a good thing. So, I'm happy with either the blue or the red team doing well. I have no allegiance whatsoever to blue team manager Dave or red team manager Nick, and so with that in mind, let's look at the last 3 exciting fights of the week. Red team member Link got ridiculously lucky in his fight against Lucario, a Pokemon that could wipe the floor with him any day he wanted to. The only reason Pit was able to win was because Wolf felt bad and literally leaped from the stage to give the red team a chance. And Fox? Come on, we all know there is simply nothing better than Fox McCloud on Final Destination. So I appreciate his effort to intentionally throw another fight in an attempt to give the red team member Falco a chance to make these next 3 matches interesting. So there! And so with that, we come to an end of round 2. Let's look at where that leaves us. At the end of 2 fights each, the blue team will lead in 1 matchup, with Marth taking both of the wins in his fight against Peach. And while the red team might lead in 8, there are now 5 matchups that are tied at 1 win apiece. This past week, DK and Link managed to come back and tie up their matches for the red team, just as blue team members Ganondorf, Toon Link, and Sonic were able to do for their team. And it will be these 5 tied matchups that will be the ones to watch as we move forward, as a win in those fights could mean either certain victory for the red team or a huge comeback for the blue team. And keep an eye on those 2-0 matches as we move forward as well, because remember, it only takes 3 wins across the 5 rounds to secure victory in a matchup, and with only 14 matchups, you only need to win 8 to win the tournament. But before that incredibly interesting 3rd round of fights, in which some of these matchups may be decided early, as with the end of every week of fights, the fighters will be taking next week off. But be sure to still tune in next Monday and Wednesday for exclusive interviews and other SSBC related content during that off week. And tune in Friday for another exciting episode, hopefully with my well-rested co-anchor, for our continued coverage of the 2012 Super Smash Bros. Championship only on Smash Center. On today's episode of Smash Center, air travel provided by Delfino Island Airstrip. When you'd rather go on vacation than show up to work and leave everything to your co-anchor. On-screen bias against the red team provided by Random Luck. Because seriously, say what you will about the blue team being behind in the score, have you seen the actual fights? Because there is no way they're actually being outplayed. It's silly things like self-destructs and unlucky recoveries, and this tournament is far from over. You guys are gonna see a ridiculous comeback, just you wait and see. Oh, and hair and makeup. provided by King DDD, when he's the only character on the roster who didn't qualify for the tournament.